Friends, Greg Newmaster coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Star Wars The Vintage Collection Mandalorian Greef Karga, played by none other than the mighty Carl Weathers himself, most notably known as Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He was also Dylan in Predator, and one of my personal favorites, Chubbs, in Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore. Very enjoyable actor. Uh, really rose to prominence in the 80s, and I'm happy to see that he landed a spot in Star Wars. And I wasn't sure how I'd feel about him in Star Wars because he's so iconic as Apollo Creed. And even as Chubbs, if you grew up or if you were a teenager in the late 90s, like early 2000s, it was like, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about Carl Weathers in Star Wars, but he does a great job. He plays the character Greef Karga, who is the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild in Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Mando betrays Greef Karga and the Guild to protect the child from the Empire. Baby Yoda. Spoiler warning, by the way. And then in Season 2, Mando teams up with Greef Karga again, but Greef Karga plans on betraying him, but the child heals Greef Karga after he's wounded and then decides to help Mando at the end of Season 1. I think I said Season 2, but the end of Season 1, and then we see him again in Season 2, and they are allies. And most notably, he's teamed up with the now canceled Cara Dune, played by the lovely Gina Carano, who is, I think, unjustly canceled, but to each their own. So now we have Greef Karga. So let's get a good look at this figure. Here's the card. The card was photoshopped, so it looks kind of bizarre. So it's not a very good card if you're a card person. But I'm very excited about this figure. I got it on eBay. Like I said, I got 4 figures in this series. I got the new Boba Fett, Greef Karga, the child in the pram, and Princess Leia in the Bespin escape outfit. Some guy, I was just lucky. I was looking through eBay. The guy immediately posted them on eBay. They were good prices, and he was even kind enough to go back and get Greef Karga for me from Target. So they're popping up in Targets all over the country, so just keep an eye out for this wave. But I got lucky. So card is okay, mediocre. Like I said, it looks photoshopped. I guess they just didn't have any dynamic images of Greef Karga. And this is his Season 2 clothing that he wore. And there is the back. And as we can see, VC 185, all the other figures in the wave. Leia, Zaton, I guess they renamed them, Boba Fett, Queen Amidala, Greef, Battle Droid from Episode 1, the child, and Anakin in a disguise. So let's get this baby open and check him out. I cannot express enough how in the 3.75 scale vintage collection figures, just the level of detail and accuracy these figures are getting. Like, these faces just look phenomenal. I mean, look at that. He looks great. He looks really great. And I'm already pleased with this figure. So he kind of has like this cape thing, tunic that kind of goes over him, like his robes. It's a real soft plastic. It's painted really nice. I am always a fan of soft goods, but you know, this is actually nice because it's a really soft plastic vinyl. So it's really good. I like that. Just nice detail. I mean, I was super impressed with the Boba Fett figure. So go back and watch that review if you're interested in that figure. It's one of the nicest Boba Fett figures they've ever made. It's the Return of the Jedi version. But Yeah, so let's get a look at his blaster. His blaster is just silver. There's no paint or detail on it, which is unusual because they normally really paint these things up. But they didn't do that in this case. And he does come with a holster. So put that in the holster there and see how that goes. Yeah, very nice. Fits in like so. I'm not sure if the scope is supposed to... No, the scope doesn't go in the holster, so it just goes in like that. It actually kind of seems like his blaster doesn't fit in with this holster, which is unusual for Star Wars because they normally make them very accurate. But let's take his cloak off, and then we can get a good look at his articulation. So we have the double jointed neck joint. That's just how they're doing the new sculpts of the Vintage Collection. And we'll get a good look at him. But look at that face. He's got the aged 5 o'clock shadow stubble sort of beard. And I guess he has a beard. It's just like shaved really short. Just a really, really good sculpt. That looks like Carl Weathers, an older Carl Weathers. Very nice. But articulation, so we got the double ball joint on the head. We got the shoulders go up about that far. These elbows are tight, but more than 90 degrees, which I love because they don't give us the double jointed elbows and knees, which is very nice. Kind of tight on my figure, which is a good thing. We got the hinge in the wrist for weapons holding purposes, which I love. Got rotation in the wrist. We got a cut in the elbow. So that's good. Can completely rotate all the way around. 360 degrees in the shoulder. We got torso articulation in the center, which is very nice. And he's also wearing a little sort of tunic underneath as well. One of those little skirts that they like to wear in the Star Wars universe. But let's check out his... those pants are very detailed. Look at that. Really detailed pants and boots. So, yeah, so they have the newer style of the hip articulation, which, like I said, I'm not normally a fan of, but it's okay. But it's tight here. So really good bend in the knee. Wow, I love that. That's such a nice improvement. So it's not double jointed, but that's a really good bend in the knee. So that looks fantastic. The hips are tight. So like I said, I'm just not a fan. I want to call this like a Y cut instead of like a T joint. So it's like a Y joint. So it's kind of awkward when you're posing, excuse me, the hips and the legs. Just really good movement there. We got a hinge in the ankle. And let's see if he has pivot also. So that's great because a lot of the older Vintage Collection figures did not have ankle pivot. So the Boba Fett I just reviewed here, both him and Greef Karga have ankle pivot. And does Mando? I don't think Mando. They didn't give Mando ankle pivot for whatever reason. So he just has the hinge, the up and down hinge, but he doesn't have pivot, which is annoying. So, yeah. But anyhow, and there's a look at the back for you guys. There's his cape. We'll put his cape back on so you guys can see. And... oh, I wouldn't recommend. I just tried to squeeze it over, and you'll break this little clasp here. So it's probably best to take the head off and reattach it if you want to take his cloak off. Oh, and let's see how he holds the weapon. His fingers are really nice looking gloves they gave him. Just it's a really nice sculpt. And if you guys are into collecting the Mandalorian figures, like I am, now you can have almost the full team. We just need IG-11, which will be coming out, and Queel. And then we'll have the main characters, or most of the main characters from Season 1. But great figure. Highly recommend him. Keep an eye out at Target. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. Greef Karga, Star Wars The Vintage Collection. God bless you all. Peace.